Hello my dear students and welcome to your favorite educational YouTube channel English वाली मैम. So आज हमारी OTT series by day 54 know how to get the perfect score का episode 17 है. And as I told you in our previous video in episode 16 that we are going to be reading the second part of the chapter Two Stories About Flying. Okay. And before that, I once again want to remind all of you that do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Do share it with your friends because or after we are done with the revision of the literature section, I am going to tell you some examiner's secret. And day 53 of your exam, ma'am is going to do what? Ma'am is going to tell you the absolute plan for getting the perfect score. But वो plan आप तभी implement कर सकते हो if you have been watching our videos regularly. And videos कैसे regularly watch करोगे? How will you know that the new video has been released? Only when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, because the moment you will subscribe, the bell icon is going to tell you that the new video has been launched. So now let us start with the revision of the chapter Black Aeroplane. So let us first understand the flow of the story. A pilot is flying a plane at night and his mind is filled with thoughts about meeting his family. So I hope all of you have your textbook handy. Okay. So, if you come to page number 37 and on the first paragraph, if you read the fourth line, it says, I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch 1:30 in the morning. And then, if you come to the second, third and fourth paragraph, it says, I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and last fuel tank and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. I will be in time for breakfast. I thought, a good big English breakfast. Everything was going well and it was an easy flight. So these sentences clearly tell us that how much the pilot was looking forward to meet his family and enjoy a good English breakfast with them. Now while he is busy flying the airplane thinking about meeting his family, what happens? The sky is filled with storm and the pilot is upset about it. What happens? It says, so if you come to the next paragraph, Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me. It says Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. Storm clouds. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. I knew I could not fly up and over them. I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. Alright, and then he says, I ought to go back to Paris, I thought, but I wanted to go home. So again, shows his, I will not use the word desperation here, but shows his eagerness, the happiness that he's moving all across his mind, that I want to, how will I feel, and I want to meet my family at the earliest, despite the fact that he sees dark storm clouds, which he explains as look like mountains standing in front of him. So he decides to take a risk. What risk is he talking about? He says, I will take the risk, I thought, and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. So the storm, which he earlier described as like mountains, the storm clouds described as mountains by him, because he wanted to meet his family, he thought that I will take the risk of flying through the storm stuck or maybe trapped in the storm clouds. Alright, if you come to next page, page number 38. So basically, the first paragraph, now he's trying to contact the control station, but while he's trying to do that, what happens? The compass was turning round and round. It was dead. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too, and I tried the radio, but there was no answer from the station as well. So he's feeling trapped in that particular storm, in those particular storm clouds. Now, while he's juggling, while he's trying to make his way out of those storm clouds, what happens? Half an hour later, he sees another plane next to him. The pilot of this plane helps him come out of the dark clouds. Let's read this episode. So, the third paragraph on page number 38, if you have a look at it. So, basically, the last paragraph, I'm sorry. After half an hour, this strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. Now, there was only enough fuel in the old Dakota's last tank to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. I was starting to feel frightened again, but then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. So just a prologue of this episode. If you come back to page number 38, the second paragraph, Paris control, can you hear me? Now you read the 1, 2, 3, the fourth line. It says, then in the black clouds quite near me, what happened? I saw another plane. It had no lights on its wings, but I could see it flying next to me through the storm. I could see the pilot's face turned towards me. I was very glad to see another person. He lifted one hand and waved. So basically, while he was struggling, he saw another plane, and half an hour later, he sees that this pilot is still there. Alright? And then what happens? This pilot of the other plane, he takes his flight. If you come to page number 39, said, but then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. He here refers to the pilot of the other aeroplane. Alright, so it started taking his plane downwards, and this pilot of who was flying the old Dakota plane, he started following. Suddenly I came out of the clouds and saw 2 straight lines of light in front of me. It was the runway. An airport. I was safe. I turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane, but the sky was empty. There was nothing there. The black aeroplane was gone. I could not see it anywhere. And the moment this pilot, he landed safely on the runway, he immediately goes to the control room and he says that, I want you to connect me to the pilot of that black aeroplane who was flying near to me, because I want to thank him for helping me come out of this situation. Now comes the mysterious end of the story. The second last passage on page number 39. He says, so he's talking to the lady at the station. So she says, another plane up there in the storm. No other plane was flying tonight. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar. So who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or radio and without any more fuel in my tanks? Who was the pilot of the strange black aeroplane flying in the storm without lights? And that is the mysterious end of the story. Now, there are varied opinions regarding this. Some people, so whenever I discuss this story in the class, and so I try and find out what is your imagination regarding who was the pilot of that black aeroplane. So sometimes children say that, ma'am, there was a black aeroplane, probably this person was the sender of God, and helped him. And some students even come up with an idea like that, ma'am, oh, maybe there was some pilot who was at one point of time caught in the storm and his plane crashed, so maybe his spirit is there in the sky. It helps those who get stuck in the storm. And the other opinion regarding this is that, which I if I talk about myself, which I feel that is quite relevant also, is that sometimes when we are really in desperate need of help at that time, because our will is so strong to achieve a particular goal, there the I would say a way out from a problem comes to us, and it comes in a very mystic manner. Okay, so why I'm discussing these opinions with you is because a lot of students come and ask me, so ma'am, who was that black pilot of the black aeroplane? So there's no fixed answer to that, but you can have your own stories regarding it, but make sure that you back up your stories with some kind of logic. Okay, so that's about this chapter, black aeroplane, and time to turn the board so that we can talk about important characters in the story. Okay, so first is pilot 1. Who's pilot 1? He is the pilot who was flying the plane in the beginning of the story. So he's a very family loving person, right? How do we know that? Because he was eagerly looking forward to meet his family. Second, what else can you think of him? He's he has that presence of mind. Why? Because the moment he sees another black aeroplane, okay, so instead of getting scared or scaring the other person also, oh, there's a huge storm, how are we going to cross, he calmly tries to follow what that person is saying. Pilot 2, and yes, of course, so pilot 1 was a kind of person who was always very grateful, because the moment he comes down, he lands safely on the runway. He wants, the first thing he asks for is to get contact of the other pilot so that he can thank him. Pilot 2, the mysterious pilot as we call it, he was a helpful being. Helpful, kind, whatever words you want to use. So that's about this chapter, Black Aeroplane, and this chapter again is important with regard to life situations, problems that we face in life. मैम आपको ना छोटे छोटे hints भी देती रहती हैं कि you need to study this chapter, because इससे क्या possible question आ सकता है, किस theme पर question आ सकता है. Okay, so make sure that you watch all the videos thoroughly. I will see you all in the next episode. Till then, all the best.